Rant summer is here. Head on over to AJsRANTroom.com. We got all of your summer needs covered. From bathing suits to swim trunks, flip-flops and tote bags, towels, tanks, and muscle shirts. Oh, and you can't forget about the visors and the hats. It's lit. So head on over to AJsRANTroom.com and get your summer poppin'. You won't be disappointed. It's always lit over at AJsRANTroom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRANTroom.com today and get to shopping. You won't be disappointed. Woo! Woo! It's been a morning. How do? Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Chat. Hope all is well in y'all respective worlds. If you were on TikTok last night, you know I was up really late. I was designing some stuff while on live stream being called racial epithets by Hispanics. Oh my gosh, isn't it? People are hilarious. I'm mad that you're not supporting me. Well, since you're not supporting me, I'm gonna call you every racial epithet that I can think of. And not only am I gonna call you racial epithets, I'm gonna reference Jim Crow, I'm gonna reference George Floyd, I'm gonna reference slavery, I'm gonna reference police brutality. And I'm like, y'all are bothering me with none of this. None of this is getting under my skin. I don't care. I don't care. You know, all you're doing is showing me you're showing me who I already knew you were, right? Right. If I go along with you, cool. You'll keep the claws at bay. But if I don't go along with you, now it's a free fall. You can call me a monkey. You can call me a N-word. You could call me yeah. I want to say the real word, so I'm gonna just leave that alone. But so I was on there probably till like almost 2 a.m. But I got some work done. So it was basically half distraction, half get stuff done. So that's why we're a little late today. And then we're late after saying we were gonna be late. We were late anyway. We were later. You know. So it's a little bit of a struggle right now. So bear with a brother. But let's talk about this double standard in the media when it comes to President Trump versus that of the so-called respected presidents. Clinton, Bush, both Bushes. It's so funny how the second Bush, W, it's funny how W gets so much respect all of a sudden. And it's because he's part of the establishment, right? He's a Republican in name, right? But he's part of the establishment. And of course, our favorite Black Jesus, Barack Obama, right? Every move Trump makes, it could be the greatest thing ever. It's either not reported on or they take it out of context and try to spin it, right? To make it seem like it's something nefarious, like it's not really happening. It's happening, but it's not really happening. Oh, Bill Clinton had his own version of Doge. We'll talk about that in a minute. It was the greatest thing ever. It was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we're gonna hear from his what was her title? Secretary something. I forgot her title, but she's gonna talk about the difference between Doge and what Clinton did, which is basically nothing. They just try to find these little things to nitpick at and make it political, and it's like if it's good for the country, just say it's good for the country, right? I'm just at the point where I'm so bored of partisan politics on both sides. I'm just tired of it on both sides. It's like just tell the damn truth. I understand you're in a business and it's a dirty, ugly business, but damn, can we just get to can we just get a moment of truth where somebody just sits there and tells the unmitigated truth? No, we're never going to get there. So it is what it is. Um, or we'll also talk about Barack Obama and him building the cages, and Barack Obama, who was literally dubbed the deporter in chief, which I think is the greatest thing he did during his presidency. Uh, yeah, that's probably the greatest thing he did during his presidency, which was get people out of this country. You did it the wrong way. Get out. It's not about not liking you. It's not about race. It's not about any of that stuff. What is it about? Right and wrong. You either did it the right way or you did it the wrong way. And if you did it the wrong way, bro, just do it again. And if you committed a crime, don't even look this way because you're not coming back at all. Jeez Louise. And then we'll also talk about HW and the National Guard. We talked about this in a live stream earlier this week. But we'll talk about HW and how he called the National Guard to the very same city. I think the 92 riots are probably a lot worse. I have to look up like reporting from that time and images and stuff because I remember a little bit. I remember when they dragged the white guy out of the truck. I remember that moment. That was terrible. Um, and they beat this man to a pulp for no reason, just because he was white. You just happen to be white at in the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong moment in history, and we'll talk about how that was covered versus how they're covering Trump's use of the National Guard in L.A. Um, we'll also talk about how immigration laws were enforced and things of that nature. Um, Trump isn't polarizing. Trump isn't the establishment. That's what they're not telling us, right? Right. They know Trump is Trump. He's bombastic. He's visionary. He's a salesman. He's larger than life, and you can't stop him. I mean, look, they tried. They tried everything. They tried everything in their power to stop this man, and they couldn't. They couldn't stop him. They could not stop him from being reelected. Even if Joe Biden was still on that ticket, Donald Trump was getting back in the White House. And now you have like Kathy Griffin and Don Lemon and all these other celebrity monkeys talking about how the election was rigged. I was like, wait a minute. It's cool when they do it, right? They can deny an election, right? They can say an election was flawed or fraud or there were problems with no proof. No proof. And nobody will challenge them. Why? Because they're Democrats, they're liberals, they're progressives, and progressive in the worst way. there's good progressive, and then there's the stuff that they do, right? Like when you want to progress to the point where you want children to chop off body parts and start taking hormones prematurely before their bodies have even really begun to develop, then we got a problem. So it's things of that nature. But let's start. Where do we want to start? You need a real ID for everything. Let's start with the. Actually, let's start with something funny. Oh gosh, wait a minute, where is it? I want to start with something fun. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. I gotta find where it is. It's in the notes, but it's not in the folder, which is I hate when I do that. Show videos. All right, let's get organized here. Live on air. We're getting organized. All right, so dump all this in the trash and drag you over here. Drag you over here. Drag you over here. Drag you over here. Damn, it's a lot of videos. I don't even think I'm gonna get all these videos. And drag you over here. All right, great. Did that? Oh, it did go. All right, cool. Now we're set. Look, I told y'all it was a long night. Out all night. All right, cool. Bet. We're ready to go. Let's roll. Let's roll. I love to lie about a bird. Love to lie about a bird. All right, let's start on a good, fun note. As you know, the Diddy trial is going on in the streets, and the testimony is turning up, and I think the state has a solid case. I think people want more theatrics out of it, and they're not getting it, so they think that the state is losing, but the state isn't losing. They're making their case, and they're making a very strong, poignant case. And one of the things I'll say about the Diddy thing is how they're trying to. This reminds me so much of the OJ trial, where there wasn't a lot known about domestic violence and how domestic abusers moved and how domestic violence can ultimately lead to a woman being killed, or a man for that matter being killed, and how people they don't show the signs. So what Diddy's team is trying to do, how they're trying to spin it, if you haven't been watching, is they are trying to make it seem like they're presenting the text messages of the good moments in the relationship, because they make it seem like, I've never been in any type of relationship like that, but if you listen to experts and people in that field, they say, yeah, it's not all bad, right? You have great moments. You have times where you laugh. You have times where you'll say I love you. You have times where you'll text I love you. There's times where you had a great night of smashing, and you text about it. So they're presenting stuff like that, right? Well, you text this. So apparently they had the Jane Doe, I think number 4, number 3 on the stand, and they were like cross-examining her and pulling up all these lovey-dovey text messages and how she enjoyed her birthday and stuff. I was like, that doesn't exempt what the state presented. This is just superficial stuff. Like, yeah, there are going to be good moments in a relationship. You're not with somebody for as long as that woman was with Diddy. She was with Diddy up until he got arrested. So obviously there were going to be some good moments, right? But that doesn't take away the psychological abuse. That doesn't take away the manipulation. That doesn't take away the fact that he put her in this 5,000 square foot apartment or whatever it was, and it was paying her rent, and dangling that over her head that could be gone at any minute. That's all part of that's all part of it, you know. So yeah, you're lovey-dovey, and sometimes she probably felt like she had to be nice, so everything wouldn't go away. So stop playing. I understand you need a defense, but I just put this motherfucker away already. Anyway, fun.
It's a rare condition this day and age to demand a freak off with so much rage. The strangest addiction that you'll ever find. Some people say that he's losing his mind. Well, then there must be some magic juice inside the Punisher. 'Cause all I see is a chocolate thing, man, milk busting over everything. Days gone by, it's the biggest break of the century.
I can't. People have a lot of time on their hands on the internet, and they're very creative. So hopefully whoever made that video made some money on it. But now let's get down to the serious stuff, the nitty gritty, the reason why we're here. So let's start with Bill Clinton. All right, let me pull up my article here. So as you know, Bill Clinton had his own version of Doge, and hold on, where's the tab? There's the tab. All right, so and his version of government was called reinventing government. Excuse me. I was too young to remember that, so I don't know any of these details. Don't know anything about it, so I had to look up some stuff. So we'll hold up. Wait a minute. There we go. Boop it. What you got? Hey, remove that overlay. Hey, remove that overlay. Hey, overlay. Hey. Oh, exactly, Pat. Exactly, Pat. If you listen to people who've been in domestic violence situations, they really don't vary, right? And you know what's so crazy about, and we'll get to this in a moment. What's so crazy about um OJ Simpson was that people, first of all, domestic violence wasn't new. It just didn't people didn't really take it seriously, and people were just very ignorant at the time to how, and it's so crazy that it wasn't that long ago, that trial. And people were just ignorant of the signs and how it could one thing can lead to another and how it's all about control, right? And the moment he didn't have control, he almost cut her head off, which is crazy. you know he wasn't invited to the dinner. He was in this feeling. She had moved on with her life, and y'all already tried. I mean, y'all tried to make it work again. It didn't work. This isn't gonna work. She's not the same 18-year-old girl you met, who's naive and green and doesn't understand the world. She's now a 35-year-old woman who understands. I know I'm going off on a tangent about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with this live, but I'm gonna do what I want. Anyway, how Clinton's reinventing government compares to Doge's approach: we cut the fat and they cut the muscle. Now, this was back when Doge first opened, and everybody was they're still outraged, but this is the outrage continues as President Trump and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency push to slash spending. Republican allies have likened their efforts to a White House program from more than 30 years ago. After entering the White House in 1993, Democrat President Bill Clinton tasked Vice President Al Gore with looking for ways to cut waste and red tape and streamline the federal bureaucracy to create a government that works better and costs less. Now, why would you not want that? Where's the rest of the article? Oh, there we go. No, that's not the rest. Where's the rest of the article? Hold on. I mean, yeah. Oh, read more in the middle of nowhere. The reinventing program cut nearly 500,000 federal jobs and dispensed with a massive number of regulations. But according to the woman who ran the program under the Clinton administration, any similarities between that program and Doge and there. Quote, we cut, they cut the muscle. It's as simple as that, end quote. Elaine Komarak. Anyway, now senior fellow in the governance studies at Brookings told CBS, we don't have any of agencies. We didn't have any dysfunction going on, and we obeyed the law. You hear the bullshit, right? So what did yeah, this y'all had dysfunction. It was just called the 90s, and y'all could keep it under wraps because you didn't have social media. That y'all had dysfunction. You don't put that many people together and it runs seamlessly. Personalities are going to clash, ways of going about things are going to clash. Even just people are going to clash because their egos are just their egos. And when you're dealing at this level of government, people are clashing every day. The difference is, like I said, this was the 90s. So you can sweep all that stuff under the rug. Nobody's privy to those meetings. Nobody's privy to the screaming matches. None of that, right? But in the social media age, we want everything in damn near real time. So anyway, where was I? When we thought something was wrong, we sent it to Congress and asked them to change it. Yeah. So So this woman is going to, and I'm gonna try to respect her, but she's annoying. She's gonna try to act like if Trump sent those changes to Congress, they were gonna get approved. Like, shut the hell up. Anyway, and I don't know what the congressional makeup was when Clinton was president, but even so, this that was also a time where Republicans and Democrats, from my understanding, would work together a little bit better, right? They would work together, it was a little more across the aisle, consideration. It wasn't always just like this partisan hard line like it is today, right? The National Partnership for Reinventing Government followed through on Clinton's campaign promise to make the government more efficient and effective. So basically what Donald Trump said, which I don't understand, how we're sitting here, and Clinton did some good things. I'm not saying he didn't, but how do we go from Bill Clinton doing this great job to who came after Clinton? H.W. Oh, no, W, right? Right. W. So W messed it all up because he's an idiot. I mean, if there's bad nepotism, that's bad nepotism. W was bad nepotism, right? Your father was president, who I wasn't a great president, but he was a decent president. And then you're just an idiot. And then you allegedly got reelected. That's an election I would question. And then you allegedly got reelected, and fine, it is what it is. And then you move on to Obama. So, and Obama tried to do some stuff, but he wasn't really successful at it because he was busy trying to get butt plugs approved, to get married. So he had other priorities. And so he did a couple of things, but he wasn't, as bombastic as Clinton and Trump on this. So correct me if I'm wrong for those who were, comprehending this stuff back in the day. The project was spearheaded by Gore and officially created in March 1993, kicking off a review of government agencies that would go on to become the longest running reform effort in the nation's history. It wrapped up its work in 1998. Kamarak was hired by Gore to the program, and the two put together a team of about 400 civil servants who worked across a number of teams. They conducted reviews of cabinet level agencies with a partner team within the agency and returned recommendations for review. 6 months later, the project had yielded hundreds of recommendations bound in the report titled Creating a Government That Works Better and Costs Less. The effort would ultimately trim the federal workforce by 426,000 in less than 8 years while cutting thousands of pages of regulations, was focused on saving the government money, but Kamarak said it also focused on making the government work better, with attention toward performance and customer service standards that remain today. Basically, we work with the people in the government to identify where we could make it work better and where we could make it cost less. The program went on well beyond 6 months review period to focus on implementation, acting upon around 2/3 of the recommendations, and yielded an estimate $136 billion in savings for taxpayers. And let's also give a shout out to Doge. The first round of Doge cuts were approved by Congress this week. So I didn't mention that in the earlier this week. So yes. Let's be clear on that. So it's making progress. So these people are trying to parse out things that are just stupid, And so the Trump administration offered a deferred resignation plan to more than 2 million civilian employees and convinced 75,000 to accept it before shutting it down and ordered agencies to lay off nearly all probationary employees. Okay, great. You try some things, they don't work. Then you just shift. You bob and weave accordingly. Doge has also gained access to the Treasury Department's payment system, and an IRS employee associated with Doge requested access to the IRS's data system that includes individual taxpayer information in recent days. They all have our information. So why is this an issue? The moves have sparked controversy and lawsuits over the administration's authority to carry out its dramatic reshaping of the federal government in a compressed period of time. Yeah, this is why I say abolish the 22nd Amendment. Donald Trump needs more time. Donald Trump needs more time. And what's standing in his way? That 22nd Amendment. FDR, I'm not going to do that, FDR, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, I'm not going to do it. But this is FDR's fault. He didn't have to run for that fourth term. If he didn't run for that fourth term, we would not have the 22nd Amendment. Repeal the 22nd. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. So all this to say, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when Trump does it. When Trump does it, when Trump does it, hold on. Da, 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 da. La, 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 la. Wait till I get my money right. Hold on. Quality control is here. I think it's sent. Hold on. All right, cool. So they want to play semantics with how things they point out a couple trivial mistakes. They point out a couple trivial mistakes and then they say, "Oh, well, this is not the same." It's the same damn thing. It's the same damn thing. The biggest difference is that more of the stuff that's required of these organizations are being forced in real time because of social media and influencers, and people want to make content. And but back in the 90s, you could breathe, you could sit back, you could take your time, because yes, there was the press, but that's all you really had. And then you had the press that you can control and keep at bay if you needed to. Not today. Not today. If you don't talk within 5 seconds, if you don't know everything off the top of your head, forget it. You're railroaded. You're dismissed. You're told you're crazy. So yeah, let's be clear. Bill Clinton's program was effective. Donald Trump's program will be effective. This is all to keep the Democrats in some sort of good grace or whatever. But I'm bored. So now let's shimmy along to where we go. Ba-da-da-ba-ba. Now, I'm a shimmy along to this article from the Independent on the National Guard, because I found this funny. That when the National Guard was sent to when they requested the National Guard at Martha's Vineyard for 50 migrants, 50. Who said, "Oh, Judge Judy, 50? I've been doing this for 50 years, 50." And these people acted like Ron DeSantis sent an army of people. It's 50 people. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. So Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker announced he plans to activate the National Guard amongst the relief efforts his administration is supplying for 50 migrants who were flown into Martha's Vineyard under Governor DeSantis' controversial relocation program. I don't know why that's controversial. Y'all are the ones claiming to be sanctuary cities and states. How is this controversial? Y'all the ones saying, "Hey, give me your poor, tired, and needy," and then when they do it, it's their fault. How about you don't designate yourself a sanctuary state or city without the permission of your constituents? Because I'm pretty sure if people got to vote on that shit, they wouldn't have. Quote, "The island communities are not equipped to provide sustainable accommodation, and state officials developed a plan to deliver a comprehensive humanitarian response," said the governor in a statement released Friday. The Republican governor outlined the state's plans for the recently arrived migrants from the southern border who were dropped on the popular vacation island on Wednesday afternoon without prior notice being given to elected officials. The release detailed, I'm sorry, did Florida get prior notification when these people crawled across the panhandle or swam across the Gulf of Mexico? Did Florida get a warning? Okay, cool. Moving on. They're here because of y'all. It's here because of y'all and y'all policies. So send them to y'all backyard. And what do? Y'all call the National Guard to help out. Oh, it's cool when they do it. And I understand the governor is different from a president, but it's all the damn same. It's all partisan politics, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. You don't care about these people. You wanted to get these people off your island before they started stealing and raping your children. Just call it like it is. That's what you wanted to do. Had nothing to do with treating them like human beings. Y'all didn't put them up in a Hilton. Maybe y'all did because y'all don't give a damn about taxpayer money. Y'all spend it any way y'all want to spend it. Um, it's cool when they do it. Oh, I don't have the of all the videos. I didn't put that in there, but also, so speaking of the National Guard, so when HW sent in the National Guard to LA in 1992 after the five officers who were acquitted of whooping Rodney King's ass, and they were tearing that city up. I got to go look up some footage from that time. I haven't looked up anything from that time, but and so it was cool when HW did it. What I didn't look up is if he invoked the Insurrection Act, and I don't know what the hell, like Donald Trump. If you have the power to do that, why didn't you do it? So like stop giving these people a fucking excuse to be dingbats about things. Just invoke the Insurrection Act, and then we would be past this conversation. But for some reason, we're not doing that. And so anyway, but Trump was clear in the Oval Office. He said, "Look, um, I've been here before. I was here in 2020, and I waited for the governors to do their jobs. I waited for the governors to do their damn jobs, and the governors didn't do their jobs. So I'm gonna help you do your job. So this way, there isn't the carnage that we had in 2020. There's no autonomous zones. There aren't people looting to the degree that they did in 2020, which there is still looting going on because, of course, nothing says justice like a brand new flat screen television. Ah! yeah, yeah. That's justice, power to the people. You know what? They still got deported. And if you get caught, you're going to get arrested for having this television, you dummy. Oh Lord. But uh quality control. Let's go to the Karen Bass video where the mayor of LA in the green jacket. So she decided to bring together leaders. I want you to notice one main thing about what the people in this video, and then we'll talk about what she said. Roll it.
A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place, and it's important that I begin there because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was this was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know.
And see, that's the black people I have to contend with, right? When I'm in a leadership position, I have to take more accountability to overcompensate for poor leaders like that. Yeah, I'm not going to acknowledge that the situation was getting out of control, and before it became an all-out war, the federal government stepped in. You are a piss poor leader. Let's go back to the fires in January. Wiped out a whole damn city in Los Angeles. People lived there 30 years. Wiped out, everything gone. Markets, the town square, everything wiped out under your watch. And where was your black ass? In Africa. You were told that there was a high risk, a very high risk of fires jumping off, and you still got on a plane and left your city. Leader, mayor. Meanwhile, fucking Ted Cruz went to Mexico during a 2-day ice storm, and y'all gave him hell. Yeah, y'all would have thought this man went to Russia. You went to the other side of the world and left your city. He went a few miles across the border and was basically called incompetent, a loser, doesn't know what he's doing, because you don't give a fuck about the people, you give a fuck about the politics. Now, did you notice something? Prince, can you pull it up and just pause it?
A week ago,
Do you notice something? You notice something? There's only one man in this picture. One. No, no, keep it up, keep it up. There's only one dude in the picture. Right there. I don't even know. So LA is being ran by women. We the most educated, the most popular, we the best ones. We gotta do it like this, and we gotta da da da. You're losers. Again, education does not mean good leadership skills, does not mean smart. Doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing. It just means you got a degree in something. Great. Doesn't mean you know how to run a city. Clearly, you appointed a whole DEI white lesbian to run the fire department in the city of Los Angeles, one of the most comprehensive grids in the country. And then when it jumped off and the flames are everywhere, the bitch has no water. What are we supposed to fight the fire with? Our spit? Is this bitch serious? But you had time to make a video about how you want to get other bitches who lick pussy in here. You had time for that. But you didn't have time to ensure one of the most essential parts of your job. Make sure your firefighters have the tools they need to be effective in times of disaster. Also, your fire chief was also aware that there was a possibility that this fire was going to jump off, right? She didn't go secure faucets, and then when Trump wanted to open up the coochie power, when Trump wanted to open up the reservoir, lake, whatever it was, up north in California and let the water down into LA. Oh my God, it's because it's Trump. Again, you don't give a fuck about, y'all give a fuck about a rare fish more than y'all do the residents of Los Angeles, many of whom got screwed on their insurance. Oh, yeah. And then when Trump went there and was meeting with the DEI mayor, and she's sitting there, yeah, it's going to take a while. Trump's like, we get this done in a couple weeks. Why can't we be expeditious in times of disaster? You should want to be. You want to get people back to some sort of normalcy as fast as possible. Y'all want to drag this out so y'all get federal funds and then steal the money. Like y'all stole the money y'all supposed to get all that brush out of there. I remember the year I was there. What was it? 2018, I think it was 2018. And I had to evacuate Chatsworth because there was literally one of the fires. I forgot which one. I forgot the name of it. And it's literally right over the hill. And I wasn't sure if it was going to jump the hill and hit our building. So they were like, we got to get out. So I ended up having to get an Airbnb down by LAX. Now, if you know, Chatsworth is almost Ventura County. So I drove from Chatsworth all the way down to the airport to buy the airport. That was there for like 4 days in an Airbnb. It was a comfortable Airbnb. I had my private school. But I should have never had to be there. Because y'all had federal funds. Gavin Newsom was still governor. Y'all had the funds, but you didn't clear the brush. Because what happens in LA, it'll rain in January, February. And then, of course, the plant's response, they grow. Then they dry out because there's no more water, there's no more rain. And then basically it just becomes a one big ass matchbook. And all it takes is one idiot to smoke a cigarette and drop it, or some arsonist to come along and decide they want to fuck around and burn shit up. That's all it takes. Y'all got billions of dollars from the federal government and did nothing with it. This is the leadership. This is the leadership we're talking about. This is Karen Bass. She's ineffective. But y'all elected her because she's a black woman. I would love to see her debate. I would love to see how she debated. I'm gonna go try to find a debate for this election that she got, that she won, because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get this incessant thirst to lick Democrats. I don't get it. When everything around you is impossible and you're still voting for the very thing that's making your lives hell. So since this bitch wants to talk about peaceful protests, Prince, there's two videos on with the riots. We could play both. I don't care which one is first, but I just want to play them to since people want to talk about mostly peaceful protests, and the National Guard was unnecessary, and then reinforcing that with the military, and like the military is not coming in to arrest people. The military is coming in to protect the men and women of ICE. The local law enforcement, they're coming in as a reinforcement. They're not coming in to enforce anything like laws. They're just there to protect. So if you fuck around, you will find out. So this whole notion that we're violating this and no, he's not. He's well within his rights. If he wasn't well within his rights, Congress would have stepped in by now. The Supreme Court would have stepped in by now. There's no reason. Because he's well within his rights. But let's look at a couple of these mostly peaceful protests. Fucking animals. Mostly peaceful because because Menudo came in the country the wrong way, we're the problem. Now it's time to go. It is how I know y'all didn't listen to Trump through his campaign. He was adamant that this was one of the major things, was the immigration crisis. It is costly. It has put too many Americans in harm's way. And y'all argument for that as well. Americans commit crimes. Yeah, Americans commit crimes too. So if I already know that Americans are committing crimes, why do I need some Venezuelan monkey in here making it worse? Driving drunk and killing people of all colors. Oh, Lord. That's a big ant. Killing people. Damn ants. Is this what the summertime is? I didn't know ants came that big. Anyway, so let's roll the next one. Play that again. So because President Trump called in the National Guard, we had to go smash the glass at the Nike store, smash the glass of other businesses, many whom are local mom and pop businesses, and act like out of control animals for what? It's an excuse to be law. It is an excuse to be wild animals. It's an excuse to be lawless. It's an excuse to steal, to act like the natural baboons that you are. That's what it is. That's the excuse is. This isn't even on the level of a Rodney King verdict. This isn't even on the level of any other major injustice. Hell, this isn't even on the level of a George Floyd. As stupid as that was. But because your homies got to go back to where they came from because they did it wrong, we got to loot. We got to steal shit. Did you see them farm animals running in and out that store? But AJ's the problem. Hey, I'm the problem for going live on TikTok saying I stand with ICE. When y'all know damn well ICE agents were being doxxed. So then the command came down, wear masks. Then they wear masks, and Hakeem Jeffries, no personality having ass, stands up there. That man will never be president. He has no fucking personality. I just want to say, why are they wearing masks? Yeah, they're wearing masks because you monkeys are doxing them. That's why. They're wearing masks because their families are now targets. And I could promise you, if one of these ICE agents' families gets harmed or worse, y'all won't be there. Y'all more concerned with these animals smashing the glass of businesses and running out. Y'all will protect those animals first. I think we just start. We should just rename them animals. Yeah, let's rename them animals. Let's roll a Maxine Waters.
Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. Get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw. There was no violence.
No shade. But can these people fall asleep and never wake up already? Can they just die already? Like, why do you serve in Congress to the point where you're damn near incoherent? Why? Why is she still a congresswoman? Why do those people in that congressional district in LA still vote for this woman? She has done not a damn thing. She has sponsored no major bills in Congress, but her daughter went to the best schools while they're sending your kids to Crenshaw High. Her daughters ate at the best places while you was figuring out ramen noodles and Franks. Congress has become a money grab, a Ponzi scheme. And that's why these people are mad. That's why these Democrats are mad. These rogue Republicans are mad because the well of stealing money is over. The period where you could just do whatever you want is over. Maxine, you're a liar. And you will stand at any mic because you think you're just grand black woman who can't be checked. You can be checked like anybody else. And these fossils like you, and I'm glad the other fossil is retiring. Well, what's the turtle looking motherfucker? I can never remember his name. Oh Jesus. What's the turtle in Congress? Senate. Um 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 Yes, McConnell. McConnell. Yes. How come I can never remember that man's name? I can never remember his name. McConnell, Dianne Feinstein basically died in a damn seat at Congress. Nancy Pelosi, all of these old ass people who are just there for the money. They're just there for the kickbacks and any other little thing they can cipher off from their Ukraine bids to everything else. Hush the fuck up, Maxine. Nobody cares what you have to say. You're about as relevant. No, I'm not going to do that. And so, since we're so mad about deportations and people sending people out of this country, where was the energy? We're gonna go to the Obama video, throwback to 2014, deporter in chief. Where were we when Barack Hussein Obama, who was known as the deporter in chief, was out here doing his job, because that was his job, to get y'all out this country. He ran on that. And if there's one thing I'll give Barack Obama credit for, is he did his part. You didn't do it the right way, you got to go. We are not a food bank. We're not the world's pantry. We're not the world's soup kitchen. We're not the world's social media social services programs. We're not that for the world, nor should we be required. Some idiot came in my live yesterday and said, well, the United States causes humanitarian crisis. And so because they cause humanitarian crisis, that's why the people get your ass out of here. So yeah, I'm gonna go cause a crisis that will then cost me more in the end. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Well, yeah, there's Mexican operatives who go, they're CIA agents, and they go into Mexico and the countries such as America, and they cause problems, and that's why the people migrate here. No, they migrate here because they've been told there's free gold. They migrated here because they told they could work in a hotel and make all this money. And when the dumb bitch came in and said that illegals pay taxes, and he said gas tax. Well, you either pay the gas tax or you won't have gas, right? Shut the fuck up. That's not that. Oh yeah, well they do file taxes. What's the number called? The NAI, the ITHC, whatever the fuck the number is called. So how do you get that number, sir? If you come here illegally, you're not getting that number. You're not gonna go say, hey, yeah, I came here illegally. Can I get a number to file taxes? Who the fuck's doing that? Anyway, where was y'all energy when Barack Obama did this? Roll it, Prince.
He's been criticized for being the deporter-in-chief, and now a new report reveals that more than 2 million immigrants were deported under President Obama's administration. According to the Department of Homeland Security, 438,421 deportations were carried out by the Obama administration in 2013. About 198,000 of those were migrants with criminal records, but some 240,000 had no criminal records. The majority of the deportations, 72%, were migrants from Mexico. A significant number were from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. The report comes even as nearly 600,000 undocumented youth were given relief from deportation since 2012 under Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, or DACA.
So he shipped back 72% of Chicanos, and y'all wasn't burning down LA, Detroit. Y'all wasn't protesting on Flag Day. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when Trump does it. And you're still getting out. And I will be live today at 4 p.m. on the TikTok, continuing to enjoy my bachata and have a good time. Oh, I can't wait to share the racist messages I got yesterday, but I want to see if I get a few more today before I put up my next fan mail post that I did on Instagram. Can't put it up on IG. I mean on TikTok, obviously, because TikTok will take it down. But isn't it funny? Yes, ITIN. Yes. I whatever. It was a long night. Leave me alone. So why is it cool when Barack did it? Why wasn't there wall to wall coverage about the injustice of the Spics getting sent back? Hmm? Why we didn't have that then? And the only people reporting on it were the Hispanics. The Hispanic networks were the only ones really reporting on it. The legacy media in the United States, we had no parts. We barely mentioned it. Interesting, isn't it? All of a sudden, Donald Trump comes in and he's doing the same damn thing, the same damn method. But he's the problem. Remember, they spent his whole first term acting like he built the cages and he put the people, even used stock photos from Obama's administration. Mm-mm-mm. To try to frame Trump. Like they're using that footage of the baby crying and trying to frame it like it was an ICE raid when it wasn't an ICE raid. Turns out it was some asshole who barricaded himself, who had a warrant. They came to serve the warrant, and he barricaded himself in the room with his 2 young children. The warrant was for A, being illegal, 2, having a unauthorized pew pew, gun, firearm. And of course, that's traumatizing. You're barricaded in a room with your father as a child for 2 hours, and there are big men with guns trying to get in. Are they really using clips from movies? Oh, this fake ICE agents. The people imitate law enforcement all the time. It's not the overwhelming majority. Shut the fuck up. You people are impossible. I'm so bored. So we covered Doge. We covered the National Guard. We covered illegal immigration. And Donald Trump is just a more forceful version of those versions, still constitutional, still well within his powers. But for some reason, when Trump does it, Hitler, existential threat, the rhetoric, right? Humanitarian crisis, racism, xenophobia. When these guys do it, oh, they're great leaders. Oh, they're doing their part to help the nation, and they're great. And we love you, Barack Obama. And we love you, George Bush, because you have a relationship with Michelle Obama, so you're good too. And Bill Clinton, we know that you're on the Epstein list. But we love you too, because you balance the budget and you trim the government fat. So what, you got your dick sucked in the Oval? We don't care. You're annoying. You're a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And that's why you can't have a real conversation. That's why you have to use racial, to call people names and use these outrageous terms, because you cannot have the conversation. Because every time I say, well, yeah, come talk to me. Oh, I don't talk to MAGA. No. You can't go in there and justify what the fuck's coming out of your mouth. Just say what it is. That's what it is. Ain't got nothing to do with MAGA. You like to say salacious shit that is fraught and case in point. Last night when I went live late last night, woman comes in. Well, as a black man, because that's all I am, right? As a black man, how can you support da 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 da? And then when they're done with them, where do you think they're going next? I don't know. Where are they going next? I'm like, ma'am, emotionalism is not going to work here. I'm not being, this is not emotional. Yes, it is. This is emotional. This is irrational, crazy stuff you talking about. I'm going to put that on the live today. I'm FBA, bitch. What's FBA? Foundational Black American. Now all of a sudden the Mexicans rescued the slaves. Okay, y'all might have had some part in Texas, but y'all weren't part of the real shit. 'Cause Texas was one of the slave states. But what? So I, as a black man in 2025, owe a debt to Mexicans? Y'all don't get y'all dusty malt liquor drinking, mira asses out my face. I don't owe you shit. I don't give it. First of all, was this a direct bloodline to your fucking ancestors or just people who were Mexican too? Okay, cool. My family roots aren't in Texas, so it means nothing to me. Now, if you shimmy over to Georgia and South Carolina, gotcha. But to sit up here and act like Spix had some major role in freeing the slaves, no, way more white people died trying to free slaves. Way hundreds of thousands of more white people died trying to free slaves. I mean, no shade. Modelo is good to me. I ain't really, I don't drink a lot, so it's good to me. You're not on the stolen land argument. It's not stolen land. It's conquered land. Get your army up. The Spaniards and the other people they came here and they took your shit. They conquered it. You lost the land. Countries fight all the time. Countries fight over land all the time. Tribes fight over land all the time. It happens. The United States is not unique. I'm sure if I looked at other historical, look, fucking Pakistan and India just set it off over a little piece of fucking land. I didn't know anything about this until they jumped off for a couple of days. And Trump was like, "Stop this shit." And they were like, oh, "Okay, okay," and they're gonna flare up again and fight over the same little piece of land again. They've been fighting over Israel, Gaza for how many decades? A long, long time. So this whole notion that people don't fight over land and they do it all the time. You're now Mexico. This is the border. And please spare me the Bible stuff because you can't scare me with the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, oh, yeah, break the law and come in and we'll take care of you. We'll give you a blanket. We'll give you a Hilton. We'll give you the best of the best food. We'll do all of it. No, no, no. Jesus wasn't some passive bitch. Y'all mistake kindness for weakness. Y'all mistake people who are charitable for people who are punks. They're runovers. You can just do whatever you want and they just have to accept it in the name of Christ. No, 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 no. It's called a boundary. It's called a law. So when someone sets a boundary or they say this is the law of the land, that's what it is. Your emotions have no place in it. You lost the game. You can yell all you want. You still lost. Anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in today. Make sure you, I got to do the graphic with the social medias on the side, but AJ's Rant Room everywhere right here on YouTube. It's AJ's Rant Room. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also on X, AJ's Rant Room, and AJ's Rant Room everywhere. TikTok, Rumble, And what's the other one? Instagram. There we go. Boo bit what you got. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Happy Thursday. And uh that's all. Later, y'all.